we got to dig through some sticky territory. The Golden Globes just happened, the Critics' Choice Awards just happened, but there's kind of a wind that's growing coming from some cardinal direction. I don't know which. Oh crap! Wrong thing. Boop. There we go. Should award shows go gender neutral? That's the question. Because like maybe 10 years ago, I'm thinking it was even more than 10. It was like maybe like 15 years ago. Scarlett Johansson popped up in some Drudge Report headline that I was looking at the time, and she was like, "We shouldn't do actor or actresses. I want to compete with the men." And at the time, I was like, "What is she talking about?" The whole point is that it's separate, but it's like more nuanced take from adult me. It would seem to me that this is maybe the right thing to do for a more egalitarian system, but of course, it's not going to be that easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it. But where is this really coming from at this point? Why are we finally seeing traction for this movement?
Yeah, I think it stems from, I know recently the actor Asia Kate Dillon, who goes by they, them pronouns, said that they would prefer to be represented under the male category in, I think it was for Billions that they were on.
That actor. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, from John Wick. I think they were in one of the John Wick movies. And then also, more recently than that even, Emma Corrin has recently started using they, them pronouns. And they were nominated in 2021 for Princess Diana. And it was kind of a... They actually started using them after all of this stuff. Like, they were nominated for all the awards, and then later that summer started using those pronouns. And so that's kind of I think the kickoff point. And then the Golden Globes being announced, the nominations, was the thing that kind of made a lot of like think pieces pop up again, because that when the Oscar nominees are announced this coming Tuesday in 3 days, they're going to be gendered. So I think that's kind of what people are anticipating anyways.
So there's a possibility they could pull a curveball and just be like, oh, surprise, we're throwing away 100 years of tradition and we're just going to do it this way now.
I guess. I mean, I don't think so. I think that they still will be gendered, in a couple days here, but in all likelihood, they could just pull a fast one and be like, here's what you want or whatever. And I mean, personally, I don't really see, I'm kind of taking the same stance you are, in that I don't really see the point of the gender nominations. I was trying to think up, maybe some reasoning, and it was pretty hard. The only thing I can really think of is, it gives the opportunity for more people to be nominated, because that if they do ever go genderless, they're going to drop it down to 5. Like, it's not going to be 10. I just hope people know that, because it's going to be 5 performances. It's not going to be 10 performances over 2 categories. So I hope people know that, because that's what you're going to get.
And that is the pitfall, behind this, because in a given year, if we really wanted to do a test, go back to the 90s, say, and if we're trying to debate between whether you have 5 spots, so does Denzel Washington get on in lieu of someone like Daniel Day-Lewis in a given year, because that Meryl Streep is going to be in that category every single time, probably even multiple times, because she pumps out so many movies that people love. More than likely,
so it's really 4.
Yeah, it's really only
4 spots.
4 spots, and then there's going to be it's I guess it might increase the prestige of being nominated, because it's tough. It gets even tougher to get up there. But it puts actors on the same playing field that all other categories already are. There's no such thing as best female director given out, or best male cinematographer. That's already something we don't see in other part. It's only in acting that they delineate the gender. And I'm usually not someone to go in this direction, but it makes sense to me, actually, after some contemplation to go in this direction, but they may have to maybe also create some like honorable mentions where it's like you get a special honor. You just get called up. You're an also-ran. You get a mini like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves Oscar, or like some other kind of award. You get like a laurel instead. But there's got to be a way to like spread the appreciation around, but then at the same time hallmark, the top 5. Across all things. We could conceivably see only women get nominated in a given year if the men are just not bringing it. And you know what? So who cares? It's like this is all made up. None of it really matters. It's not like we're talking about athletics or, one-on-one combat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you bring that up because I was going to mention this anyways, that be careful for what you wish for, because I don't think that this moves the needle quite as much as people think it's going to.
Oh.
These problems, the problems that these categories are entrenched in are societal. They're on a societal level. We value male performance more than we do female performance on a societal level.
Yeah.
I mean, look at sports. Every male sports team is bigger than any female sports team. It's paid more attention to, yada yada. And so it's all on a societal level. So when this happens, if it does, here's what's going to happen. And we're already seeing this with the Gotham Awards and the other ones that have moved. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to start getting these headlines and these tweets that say, why are all 5 of the best performance nominees males this year?
Yeah.
Why is there only one BIPOC female nominated this year? Yada yada. You cut the head off the Hydra and 3 more pop up. So you get rid of one problem and another problem arises. So be careful.
Yeah, indeed. That's a very, very good point. And it was something that had occurred to me as well as inevitable in this day and age, because before you know it, the Sri Lankan contingent is upset that they aren't getting special highlight. You know what I mean? Like it gets parsed so finely, identity that eventually there's no difference between the tribalism of today than 1,000 years ago. After a certain while, we're just not killing each other anymore. But goddamn it, we send mean tweets. And keep an eye on the Supreme Court. There's actually an important free speech ruling that could potentially happen there. But as far as the Oscars and gendered awards shows in general, there's pitfalls here, and there'd probably have to be a lot of acceptance from a lot of people who think that this would be a big win to get an institution such as this to, go in the direction you want them to. But there's unintended consequences.
There's also, just to kind of cap it off, honestly, in all honesty, like you said, this doesn't really matter. Do whatever you want, especially in light of this is the last Oscars that we're going to get that do not follow the Oscars so-called diversity guidelines that they came up with a couple years ago.
Which I took a closer look at those things. They are absurd.
Yeah. It is. It's pretty nuts. And that's something we'll probably talk about more this time next year. But I just want people to be aware of that next year, 2024 awards, those kick in. And so it's honestly like, do whatever the fuck you want, because this is the last year that you have any sort of credibility at all, because just go Google those. I'd invite anybody watching this, go Google those, Oscars, diversity guidelines, and it just throws out any remaining credibility you had.